Smooth Whiskey by David Estringel. The days are long in a life of slow motion. Waking up takes too long, despite the violent assaults of the alarm clock, unchained by a snooze button. Like me, worn down to the circuitry. Get up late again. Take a whore bath in the bathroom sink, wash what needs it, and get out the door. Shower would be nice. Really nice. Maybe tomorrow. Probably not. Again. Office clocks, harbingers of death to my soul, lament the dying of the fire within. Telephone rings perforate the recirculated air of lungs and mouths like a symphony of electric crickets, tuning up beneath the hepatic glow of fluorescent suns outside my cubicle's walls. Driving home in the same car, down the same roads, in the same rancid clothes that need more than just a good airing out, stuck in this bad track mix, playing on a loop. I need a drink. There's a bottle at home. Whiskey, I think, a gift for my 50th. It goes down rough, but smooth after a glass or two or three. Smooth is good in a life of no motion. The days are long in a life of slow motion. Waking up takes too long.
All right, hello everybody. Welcome to Rabble Review's first ever live stream. We are live on Twitch, and thank you for joining us. I am Andrew. I'm joined with my fellow editors for Rabble Review. We're gonna have a great show. We have a few readings from some of our contributors from past issues. And after that, we'll get into some behind-the-scenes discussion of past issues, how we get into building an issue. But before we do that, we're all going to go around and introduce ourselves because we actually haven't since we started, really. So I'll begin. Like I said, I'm Andrew Adjei. I'm one of the editors at Rabble Review. I've been with Rabble Review since the beginning. Angel sort of recruited me. We were working together on another thing that kind of didn't come together, but we came together again and started this later in a bit. Angel will give you a rundown of the whole little spiel of the magazine. But yeah, I'm a writer, creative writer. I write fiction. I also stream, which is how I got the idea to do this. But yeah, I see a few people in the chat. Hello and welcome. So I'm going to toss it over to Angel, who's going to introduce himself, and then we'll just keep going from there.
Hello, I'm Angel. My name is Angel Neri. I am a poet and an editor for Rabble Review. I'm supposed to give a short history of the magazine. So I've been with Rabble Review since before it was Rabble Review, same as Andrew. We had worked at a different literary journal, RCC Muse,
Yes.
which was the school that I went to at the time and that Andrew went before I did at the time. And so, yeah, I befriended the designer, and for like a year we just tossed around the idea of like, oh, maybe we should do our own thing. But we never like actually went ahead and did it. Then 2020 happened, the world ended, and so we suddenly had a bunch of time on our hands. And yeah, we decided to actually do it. We hit up Andrew and he was into it. But then, well, the project at the time was called Continuum.
Yes.
Initially, it was meant to, the idea was to sort of primarily focus on queer and BIPOC artists. But like as we were sort of laying the groundwork for that, like the world was still ending outside. So yeah, a lot happened. We all lived through that. So we sort of decided to lean a little bit harder on the political aspects of the project that were already like there. And so, yeah, everyone seemed to be into it. Shortly after, we lost the designer. We got another one, and then we lost her as well. But then, yeah, it was getting R1 was pretty difficult to get out. But then one time I just decided to, fuck it, I'm just going to post on Reddit and see if anybody is interested and wants to help. So that's where Jared came in.
Yes. All right. Yes. So,
I'm Jeremy.
Yep.
I'm the one who came in through Reddit. Sorry, I cut you off, Andrew. What were you saying?
No, I was going to toss to you. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Jeremy Hurdis. I'm the one who's located in Ottawa, Canada. So pretty far away from the other editors, but I spent a long time, too long, in academia, and then I jumped that ship and went into eventually become a humble public servant, and by night a Rabble review editor. And yeah, that's pretty much all that's going to be relevant right now. So,
all right,
yeah,
Faith, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Faith Robertson Paul, and I joined for 4.
Yes, issue 4.
And then I dipped for the last, the twin issue because life things, and I'm back. I'm back and better than ever.
Back for issue 7.
Yeah. Part 2, the remix, The Hills Have Eyes. Anyway, and I got involved through Andrew because Andrew and I met in a short story workshop class.
Yeah, it was creative nonfiction.
Oh yeah, creative nonfiction. You're right. And yeah, like no exaggeration, how much I adore Andrew, truly. And like one of the best writers I've ever met, like, you know, in the flesh, where it's like a person who's just a regular person you go to class with and isn't like a lauded writer that you're like, wait, what the fuck? Like, they're so talented. And like just always wrote really memorable stuff. So then years later, when I was asked if I wanted to participate in this, obviously I said yes. Yeah. Thank you. Oh wait, I'm a writer too, but I don't know, man. I left academia as well when basically during the pandemic, because I graduated into the pandemic with my master's. So I just teach kids how to read now, and I actually really, really much prefer that as the day-to-day activity.
All right, thanks, Faith. Rowan.
Yeah. I'm Rowan Crossthwaite. I was a contributor for, it was 2 and then 4,
yes.
Right? Yeah. And then I was talking too much probably on Twitter about starting my own magazine, and I didn't know anything about it. And the lovely people at Rabble reached out and asked if I wanted to guest edit to get a taste for it. And I really loved my time guest editing for 5 and 6, and it, you know, gave me the kick in the butt to try and start Vital Minutiae Quarterly, which we'll talk about later. I'm a writer, I am an artist, editor now, parent, accountant by day, and all around gentle weirdo and nerd.
Awesome. Yeah. So like Rowan mentioned, they will be talking about their mag VMQ later on. But right now, we are going to get to our reading. So we have 8 excellent readers. And we're going to start off with Avid Joseph, who was a contributor for Rabble Review 3 and later 4. We published their poems Now I'm Thinking About Deer, Global Spread of Autoimmune Disease, a resolution of negative space in Rabble Review 3. Also, Resolution Negative Space 2, which they will be reading, and Resolution in Negative Space 3 is part of a series, as they will talk about in their intro. I will be posting links. If you like what you're hearing, I'll be posting links for where you can find more information about all of our readers for today. Also, we are accepting submissions for our 7th issue. There are QR codes for all over the place. So just scan one. One will take you to our submission page if you want to submit visuals, poetry, prose. And also, if you want to download an issue of the magazine, which we will also be doing a little deep dive of later. But for right now, let's hear from Avid Joseph.
Hello, dear Rabble. My name is Avid. I'm going to read a poem called Resolution in Negative Space. It's part of a family of poems with the same title, published in issues 3 and 4, when I was still going by my previous name. And next time you hear from me, I might have a different name altogether. Who knows? I'm a lovely lunatic. I have a Patreon. You can dig around for it if you want to help me pay my phone bill. Thanks. This is Resolution in Negative Space. I am moving on from this betrayal and its apologists who find our grief unreasonable and their affluence natural in any and every climatic, geopolitical context. Goodbye, you who lament the loss of the weak and do nothing to bolster our inherent relation, save buttressing illusions of plastic immortality. Goodbye. I am off to grow a better world where weakness calls to mind our shared condition as salt dissolved deliciously in the soup of thirsty gods.
Okay, thank you to Avid Joseph. Again, that was their poem In Negative Space 2, and you can find that in Rabble Review 4. So up next, Jer is going to introduce our next reader. So Jer.
The next reader is Edward Canavan, who you can usually find on Twitter or Instagram, posting many of his shorter poems. They're really nice. They're short. They're punchy, and you'll probably be thinking about them long after you've read them. He appeared in RR4, RR5, and RR6. So he's a friend of the magazine, I guess you could say. And right now he'll be reading Addition by Subtraction from RR6.
All right.
Edward L. Canavan reading for Rabble Review. Addition by Subtraction. Mainlining minutiae to the point of purge. Succumbing to the succubus of demand. The toil that needs to be done to get where the real needs can be tended to. The heart work, the soul work, that justifies all the means to every end. The antidote to leaping from 5th floor windows. The salve for the mind, stung numb by routine and rigmarole. That fine fading line between persistence and pessimism that often thwarts the fleeting urge to fall right off the face of the earth. Peace.
All right. Thank you to Edward Canavan. Again, that was his poem Addition by Subtraction, and you can find that in RR6. Up next, we're going to go to Rowan, who's going to introduce our next reader.
Our next reader is Michaela Godding, reading her poem Sometimes from RR5. You can find her on Instagram. I follow her there, and she's pretty cool. She was previously in issue 4 of Rabble Review. She also has a chapbook out now with Bottle Cap Press. And there is a content warning for suicide and self-harm for this poem, but it's one of my favorites in this issue, and I hope you enjoy it.
All right. Let's hear from Michaela Godding.
Hi, my name is Michaela Godding, and the poem I'm about to read can be found in Rabble Review number 5. It can also be found in my new chapbook called Dwelling, which was published by Bottlecap Press. So if you like it, you can find it there too. Its current title is, in parentheses, Sometimes. Mouth twisted, gouged out apple core, sadness, pulping at the edge of dry lips. My chest roars like oncoming traffic when I ask, is love worth it if it makes you forget who you want to become? I want to write poems about wanting to die, but that would mean admitting I am ordinary. Body the basin of a mediocre bathtub, wrists crying like mocking jays. Part of me thinks I will be most myself when I can no longer unwrite who I am. When my crack open can be a memory of beaches instead of unpluggable rivers, I am sorry that spilling is all I am good at. I am sorry I want to be a mother and wife and also never regret anything ever again all at once. This is a loud cry for help while quietly graying. My art has become a colorful mattress. My doubt has become my greatest threat. My sister has become unafraid of guns. I keep thinking about the revolver waiting in her glove box. How I could pull it so quick that there isn't even time to palm the cold of the metal handle. I'm so sorry for bending, for digging pits into cuticles and enjoying the blood, for the mud clotting around my sister's Honda, the moon and its unsight in black Arkansas sky. Maybe, if I die, I can finally love my family. Maybe seeing the back of my own head can show me where all the forgiveness has been hiding. I don't want to hide from my life or from loving you, but your hands have made those one and the same. I'm so sorry for rupturing onto a faraway couch cushion, for pressing my cysts until they burst and deflate, for not having the strength to hold my own throat, for fighting, wanting to ask you to hit me. My eyes, blistered sun patches slurring over aching calves singing, roses are red, and so is ibuprofen. A dream is worth chasing until it chases you back like a once-beaten pit bull, and my ankles are all it can see. For just a moment, I want to have something else's stomach, want insecurities to echo back in a thin girl's voice. For just a moment, I want to slip away out of these massive bones and into the body of a bird. A pigeon or dove, unaware of what it's like to never hear your voice again. Just me, stupid, beautifully unaware, and the sky.
Okay, thank you to Michaela Godding. That was her poem Sometimes. Up next, we have Amrita Valan. Amrita Valan's first appearance in Rabble Review is in RR5 for her poem Guilt, which she'll be reading. She was also in Rabble Review 6 with her poem titled Overwatered Under. Yeah, we'll have links for her in the chat. You can follow her on Twitter and Instagram. Also, you can find her on Spotify. So that's pretty cool if you want to hear more of her readings. So we're going to go over to Amrita.
Guilt by Amrita Valan. I never shift gears past mistakes, wiping blurry windshields, encrusted saltine sullying, dirt-laden vision. Let me eat blood cake, Marie Antoinette, gelatin sliced, headstrong guilt, queen size. Thank you.
Thank you to Amrita Valan. Again, that was her poem Guilt. So up next, Jared's going to introduce our next reader.
Yeah, next we're going to hear from Reinfred Dziedzorm Addo, who appeared in Rabble Reviews 5 and 6. By day, he's a speech pathologist, and he's also a visual artist. He's got a lot of work to check out if you want to follow him. And he'll be reading Collecting from Rabble Review 6.
My name is Reinfred Addo. My poem is called Collecting, and it appears in Rabble Review, issue number 6. Collecting. I am collecting money, houses, fame, collecting romance, people, food, collecting animals, pictures, friends. Who's going to offer something in return? Fuck that, I am collecting. Collecting cars, jobs, love. When will we give any? Fuck that, I am collecting. Collecting sleep, art, faith. Where's the offering coming from? Fuck that, I am collecting. Collecting pride, joy, clothes. Why aren't we giving any? I am collecting. Collecting knowledge, wisdom, sex, collecting strangers, laughter, shoes. What about an offertory in return? No one ever asked me.
All right, that was Reinfred Dziedzorm Addo reading his poem Collecting. You can read that in Rabble Review 6, our most recent issue. Thank you to Reinfred. Up next, Angel is going to introduce our next reader.
Next is Dr. Elizabeth Vincent Koshy, who needs no introduction because she does an excellent job at introducing herself. Fun fact about herself is that she began writing at the beginning of the pandemic, so she's a very new writer and a very good one as well.
All right, let's hear from Dr. Elizabeth Vincent Koshy.
Hello everybody, I'm Dr. Elizabeth V. Koshy, working as a professor in English literature at Dr. Arvind B. Telang Senior College, Pune, India. I started writing during the pandemic. My poems have been published in edited anthologies by Sweetie Cat Press in Love, Song, Beauty and Movement, Clarendon House Press in Poetica 3, 4, 5 and 6, Gertrude's Writing Room, Caesary.org, The Writers Club, Stacey Savage's Poetry for a Cause, Lothlorien Poetry Journal, The World of Myth Magazine, Indian Periodical, Literary Yard, Rabble Review, and Spillwords. My CNF and memoirs have been published by Academy of the Heart and Mind, Inspired Magazine, and Sweetie Cat Press. A few poems are forthcoming in Mocking Owl Roost and in Muse India's special poetry edition to be published soon. My poem, The Mystical Conjunction, was selected by Sweetie Cat Press for the Jewels in the Queen's Crown anthology in the 24-karat gold category. I enjoy reading, writing, and teaching poetry. Equality and justice are issues close to my heart, especially women's rights and issues related to women. I am inspired by the beauty in nature, especially the golden hour, night skies, and the changing seasons of the year with their different moods, emotions, and expression. Today I'm going to read a poem called Building for Others. This poem was first published by Literary Yard. Here's the poem. An excavator pounds the rock. Earth-moving machines claw out boulders to make boulder hills. From the first light to evening twilight. Working to the dictates of the concrete mixer, yellow-helmeted automatons, apparitions in grey, collect the spewed out concrete in wheelbarrows and empty it into troughs. Others scoop it out with buckets, hand it to still others on ladders, to be poured into molds for pillars. 17 buckets to the minute. Smoothen out slabs in sweeping arcs and fill beam molds late into the night, to build skyscrapers, podiums, and play areas for the rich, after getting burnt all day under the blistering and broiling sun. Return to temporary shacks made of corrugated tin sheets, with plastic sheets on top of the tin roofs, weighed down by wooden sticks and bricks, to dream of building for themselves what they'd build for others. That's the poem. Hope you like it.
Okay, thank you to Dr. Elizabeth Vincent Koshy. That was their poem "Building for Others," and you can find that in Rabble Review 6. They did not have anything to promote, but in their intro they did mention quite a few other publications, so check them out. Up next, though, we have Patrick Connors. Patrick Connors was featured in Rabble Reviews 5 and 6. He his poem "The Day After Canada Day" appears in Rabble Review 5, and in Toil, the poem he will be reading appears in Rabble Review 6. He also has a chat book out called "Worth the Wait." It's available now, and we'll be posting links to that in the chat, so please check him out. But for right now, let's hear from Patrick Connors reading his poem "Toil."
Good day, my name is Patrick Connors. Rabble Review published 2 of my poems in issue number 5. However, today I'm going to share with you the poem that they are publishing in issue number 6. This is in my book, Worth the Wait, which is being released in Montreal in April. And this poem, Toil, is going to be the poem that I end my Toronto launch with at Hurdis Cafe on May the 31st. Blinded by beams of mind-numbing light, from a soulless fluorescent sun, you begin another nameless day. The air crackles bolts of static, buzzes and hums its din monotone, which makes hearing hard and hearts harder. Surrounded by a sea of hope gone cold, you hold your breath and jump feet first, not knowing when you will hit ground. You are a digger. You trace a line with common courtesy around basic humanity and then cut into it. You dig, try to get below the surface. The terrain is bare and unyielding, so you dig and you dig some more. You are not sure of what you will find, how to recognize the results of your work, if they are real or have any value to anyone. This poem is a commentary on the value of work in our society in these times. We should have value in our work. Our work should be valued by the society at large, by those who employ us, and by the community as a whole. The question of whether it is or not, I will leave up to you. Thank you very much.
All right, that was Toil by Patrick Connors. Throwing in a nice little bit of commentary that I think we all need. So thank you to Patrick Connors. Up next, Jer is going to introduce our last poem for our reading portion. So Jer, who do we have?
Yeah, closing us out is going to be Jeffrey Morel or Jeffrey Rinskop, I think, depending on where you find him. He appeared in Rabble Review number 6, and from that issue, we'll be reading Sorry for Caring.
Hi, my name is Jeffrey Morel, and I'm a poet and writer based in Eugene, Oregon. Today I'm going to be reading a poem for you I wrote that was published in Rabble Review number 6 called Sorry for Caring. And before I do, I just want to say that if you enjoy my work and want to read more of it, you can find it at jeffreymorel.com or on Substack at Foraging for More, where I post a poem roughly every weekday that comes direct to your inbox if you subscribe, and you can also support me with a donation there. As far as social media goes, I tend to also share my work the most consistently on Instagram at Jeffrey Morel 711, JEFFREYMOREL. Okay, here we go. Capitalism will make you sorry for caring and compel your silence on the issues, because the ideal is frictionless commerce, with no concerns shared, just profits divided, a few pumps for a new market, under your own roof. If you choose to save your children instead of saving the world, what on earth are you saving them for, except yourself? Money is civilization's MacGuffin. Now that I've seen what my family works for, and learned how to sing, I won't feel at home again, until we question everything. Thank you.
All right, that was Jeffrey Morel Rinskoff reading their poem "Sorry for Caring." You can find that in Rabble Review 6. We also posted a link to their website where you can find out more about them. Subscribe to their Substack. Be sure to support all of our future contributors today, as well as the writers in our issue. But before we continue on, I just want to give one more thank you to our readers: Avid Joseph, Edward Canavan, Michaela Godding, Amrita Valan, Reinfred, Dziedzorm, Addo, Dr. Elizabeth Vincent Koshy, Patrick Connors, and Jeffrey Morel. So let's give them a nice little applause. Thank you so much for sending in your readings. Those were all really, really fantastic. And hopefully those readings give you a sense of what Rabble Review is all about. I feel like that's like a really great distillation of like the types of stuff that we publish and the types of stuff that we look for. Speaking of, we did mention early on that Rowan, our guest editor for Rabble Review 5 and 6, came on to guest edit, but before that they were a contributor, and they are actually starting their own literary journal. They are open for submissions now, and we're going to have Rowan talk a little bit about that before we continue on. So let me bring it up. So yeah, Rowan, what do you want to tell us about Vital Minutiae Quarterly? Great name, by the way.
A title
Thank
I
you.
love, yeah.
Yes.
That name took so long to come to. I have my little notebook that I write in my entire brain on paper. And this is like all the name ideas I went through, and then some.
Whoa.
And my husband gave some that were all like Diggums. His idea was Diggums. Because the reason it was a hard name to find is the magazine is about creativity. I had this idea for years of a magazine that's about creativity, but that's so broad. I wanted a magazine that was as obsessed with creativity as I've always been, not just writing, but just art. How you create art, why you create art, all the little minutiae of like what kind of paper you use, what pen do you use, why do you use it, why, like the tiny little details that no one else might care about, but you care much about it because it's vital. So
yeah,
it kind of came around that way. Finally, was just the creativity that is vital to us as artists and creators, who we need to create, or else what are we doing with our lives? 1 second while I tell my daughter to stop.
But yeah, it's really cool that Rowan's working on this. But yeah, continue, Rowan.
Sorry. Right. Creating is vital for artists because it's just part of like who we are as people and part of our lives and the minutia of it. And I always thought as well that for a lot of artists, we have to work day jobs because that's our world right now. And a lot of day jobs don't satisfy us because it feels like minutia, because it feels like what is the point of the spreadsheets? What is the point of the TPS reports? And somehow that minutia is mind-numbing for us, but the minutia of which paintbrush and what kind of glass and what kind of clay, that's what matters. And that's the kind of magazine I want to put together, basically, is the people who are creatively obsessed with creativity.
Yes. So
and all those aspects of daily work come in a companion magazine called Anti-Vital Tedium.
Well, as I mentioned, I'm an accountant by day, so that is
yeah, you got that covered. Yeah, that sounds. I mean, that sounds really awesome. Do you want to speak to the I mean, you kind of did talk a little bit about it, but like some of the stuff that you're looking for in terms of submissions, and I kind of have it up on the screen right now, but from your Twitter. But yeah, you could speak a little more to what you're looking for as far as submissions go, because I feel like there will be overlap with the Rabble Review audience as far as subject matter, so as far as the stuff that you're looking for, so they might be interested in submitting. But yeah, can you speak a little more to that?
I'm looking for a lot of everything, basically, and so far I've gotten quite a few submissions, happily. And I've gotten a lot of poetry and some creative nonfiction and some fiction, which is all wonderful. I've gotten some art which I'm already like my mind is blown by what I've received, and I am so grateful for it. More of that is always great. I'm also hoping to get some like interviews and product reviews, some walkthroughs of creative processes of people who make ceramics, or how do you write a poem? What's your process for outlining something? I'd love to see some of that. I'd love to see like reviews of even silly things like cameras and lenses, and like I mentioned, clay and what kind of glass you use if you make stained glass, that kind of thing. I'm obsessed with it. I know other people are. So I want, like I said, the obsessions is what I'm looking for. So yeah, poetry, fiction, creative nonfiction, art. I don't have the capability yet for like video, I think, but like little interviews or walkthroughs or that kind of thing. I'm hoping to get some more of those.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's already off to a really excellent start. Anyone else want to ask Rowan anything about VMQ?
I just want to note, you should talk to Angel about the one video submission we had for Rabble review number 1.
Yes, we actually we can actually
we
show
did get
that.
a video submission. We didn't get to publish it as a video, but we ended up taking splices of it and putting it onto like 2 or 3 pages of images.
Yeah, it was a video, but it was more of a like a slideshow sort of thing.
Yeah.
So we were able to kind of take the stills from the video as a like
I hadn't
per page.
thought of that. I'll have to, okay.
Yeah, and I guess for interviews you could have stills from the interview and then kind of just have a transcript, but that's something to think about. But yeah, that sounds excellent. So you have a pretty open window as far as for the submission window. So when should people get their submissions in by?
August 31st is the end date. I actually spent a lot of time, not as much time as the name, but a lot of time figuring out my schedule because I wanted, it's just me. I use we in all my postings, but it's the royal we, it's just me. And like I've mentioned to some people, I'm moving up across country soon. I have a day job, I have a kid, I've got a spouse. So it's, I gave myself a lot of time. The submissions come in, so open to June 1st, going to August 31st. I've given myself the month of September to get submissions out and then start on it. And actually submissions for the next issue, we're going to open September 1st. I'm going to have a rolling submission period. And I wanted it nice and long to give everyone a chance. And I made a point of I'm open to simultaneous and previously published. If it's somewhere else, that's great. With 3 months, I figure that's not fair to say only to me and nobody else. That's not reasonable, in my opinion. So nice 3 months for submission periods and then a month to get everything, all the responses out, and give myself 3 months to September, October, November to make it. I think 3 months should do it, I hope.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've had to delay countless times, so just don't even, you'll be in good company if you need to push back a little bit. We will not judge, but yeah, that was Vital Minutiae Quarterly. Rowan, their editor-in-chief, also past contributor for Rabble Review and guest editor for Rabble Review 5 and 6. So yeah, if you like what we do here, you will definitely love what Rowan's cooking up. So thank you, Rowan, for giving us a little sneak peek of what's to come.
My pleasure.
All right, so now we're gonna dive a little deep into Rabble Review, because we are virtual, because we have Jer in Canada and Rowan she's not in California like me and Angel are. We come up with very creative ways to build an issue, and we wanted to kind of give you guys a little insight, show you a little bit how it all kind of comes together, and we'll also be going a little deep into the magazines. We'll give you little pieces of the first few issues. We'll mostly be focusing on our most recent issues, but if you guys are in the chat have any questions, please feel free to send. You can also send us questions. Someone, Angel or Jer, just keep an eye on the socials. If someone has a question, please DM us there and we'll try our best to answer it. But for right now, we're gonna go into the board. So I actually saw on the Rabble V3 board, which we built, like this kind of has a little bit of the sicko mode, like look at all this
Oh, good.
yeah,
Nice.
so like you guys can kind of see how it is when we first start building an issue, and then when we kind of zero in and drill in a little bit and eventually get you that PDF of the completed mag. So yeah, we can get started. Just gonna bounce around. You guys can see we have like our various pools. You can kind of see here we kind of this was for Rabble Review 3, but like kind of us trying to kind of dump things into buckets to kind of, because the order's not random. Like we don't just throw the submissions that we accept into the issue. We kind of try to come up with a consistent theme so that the readers kind of there's like a little bit of a narrative that comes through, and we'll speak to that for 5 and 6 because those ones actually do have a specific theme that we found through editing. But yeah, that
part, I guess, of the process of making the magazine, it feels like the longest, or like the most intensive, but it's also the most fun. I think I think Faith might have mentioned it when we were doing number 4, like the reviewing them and kind of trying to make something cohesive out of like seemingly disparate works. It's so much fun, and I'm really grateful that I get to do that.
Yes.
Yeah, like by the time we get to this point, we've been through a process of voting and debating about works to accept and not accept.
Yes.
And then we throw them into a big jumble on this Miro board.
Yeah. So yeah. So before we even get to this point, Jared puts all of the submissions into a spreadsheet, and then we read it individually, we vote on it, and then if there's any conflicts, we have a discussion. There's been a few that have been on the cutting board, but that like someone will fight for it, and we'll kind of see the point and kind of, like, okay, maybe we could see a place for it, because when you're building a literary magazine, like it's not quality, like it's not like you're not only throwing out stuff that's good or bad. It's, does this fit with the issue? Does this fit with the other stuff we've accepted? Yeah. Is this like size-wise? Could we do it justice in this issue? Maybe we save it for another issue. There's a lot more that goes into it. So if you ever get a rejection, it's nothing personal. It's part of it, and we definitely encourage. We've definitely published people we've rejected, and vice versa. So it's all a big process. But yeah, let's anyone else have anything else to say about this jumble before we kind of move to the other boards?
I just want to highlight that, if we don't accept their work, it's possible that we still really like it. It's just we didn't know how it would fit with the other works.
Yes.
So, it's possible even if you submit it again, we could take it if it fits better with what we get that round.
Yep. And
and we have done that in the past, like with the cover art for RR6. We received that piece for RR1.
I think, yeah.
And we've been trying to fit it into
it's on this
any
board.
of the other issues.
Yeah, it's on the board for RR3. Like this was last spring. We were like, maybe the cover.
Yeah, so there are these 3 pieces that, as of Rabble Review 2, we thought, okay, these are going to be covers perhaps someday. So Max Vidavin and Monica Saraba, if you ever see this, we're gonna reach out to you at some point.
And we add comments sometimes, like Jared put cover ? And that's actually what ended up being the cover for RR3. So yeah, you can kind of see a little bit of that process. But let's hop to RR6, and we will definitely be. Oh wait, I started this one. I don't remember why. Let's take a look. This is RR1. Oh yeah, this is. Here's a little bit more of the chaos. But like, what did these lines mean? I do not know. They made sense at the time. We mentioned that video earlier. This is Lost Souls.
Oh, yeah.
Again, this is like a map that seems like madness, and it is a little bit, but that's
the process improved over time, so
has it?
Yes, it has.
It's no the actual building, but I'm just saying, like, it's gonna look like this when we're like kind of figuring things out to some extent, but
okay, well, yeah, we end up cleaning it up more now.
Yeah.
And that was
Maybe
kind of an
that's the only
issue for
difference.
this, because we wanted to show you guys the messy view of the board while we're trying to make sense of it, but because we clear them out.
So the boards definitely get cleaner as we figure things out, and then by the end it's like one really straight line.
Well, one of the big differences is back then we had all of the works in a jumble, and we all kind of worked on it at the same, like the same jumble. We all worked on it together, so it was a little bit messier. Whereas now, what we tend to do is we copy the whole jumble into one section for each of us, and we kind of make our own narrative lines, and then we talk about them and kind of combine them and work out what the best one is to go with.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and then we pull what seems to be what's interesting or what's working. Like sometimes it'll just be a whole section of like, oh, I like what Faith did here. I like what, or Angel had a really cool thing going in this little section. We just kind of take pieces. So we don't just look at one person's board and all right, they got it. Like let's do that. Like it's like it's collaborative in that sense.
Because it's about like, what work do you think flows perfectly into another work? And sometimes one person will have a whole string of works that just make this beautiful little mini narrative. Another person will have like just pairings that work beautifully together, and it's kind of about amalgamating and working that out in a way that we all like.
Yeah, so here's our most recent board. So we actually worked on issues 5 and 6 simultaneously, sort of. We had a really big pile, and I remember I didn't really want another huge issue, just because one, it takes a long time to build those, but also because issue 4 is quite large. I think it's almost as large or just as large as our first issue, and so and also life happens. Like we're all volunteers. We all come together on our free time to build this issue. So like sometimes like Angel's in school, so he'll have finals or work stuff gets in the way, and so like we sometimes have to move the dates around when we want to get the issue out. And so splitting up the issue was a way for us to because we had enough for 2 issues. So it was let's see what we can do with this pile, and focus on half of it right now, and then we do the other half for the next issue. So does anyone want to speak to how we arrived, like what the themes were? Because I
don't remember exactly what like how it came up. I'm sure it was Jer who suggested it, but like when we were trying to make sense of the whole pile initially as like, okay, let's try to make this into a single issue, it sort of became clear that like, oh no, there's like two different narratives, 2 different stories that we can tell. But yeah, Jer, go ahead.
Well, pretty early on, Andrew had made the suggestion like we should make 2 issues out of this pile, and it kind of fit naturally with the pile that we had. So instead of weaving it in and having like 2 issues of mixed theme, I proposed let's cleave it so that we have like an issue that is just very kind of personal, interpersonal. It's all about relationships, and then another one that's really just about like the brutality of work and capitalism and the grind.
Yep.
And I think it worked out really nicely.
Yeah, so we'll go into the issue in just a sec, but here's like an example. Like we will throw up Angel will make concepts for the cover art, because Angel also does the design work, which as you'll see like has all like it looked great in the first issue, but it's really come a long way even up through issue 6. But here's like an example of the cover options, and then we'll vote on them. We'll see like, oh, maybe does this fit with the vibe, different cover treatments. Like I think issue 3 we had the titles on the did we end up with the titles for the final one? I think
on 3?
We did. No, for 6. For 6 we did have the titles. different cover pages. So our fiction pages will have cover work. Was someone gonna say something? I heard a gasp. Yeah, so the fiction works different colors.
What could have been the cover for Gregor Samsa in reverse?
Yes, as you'll see, did not go with that this concept, but
Oh yeah, at all. Where did the clock come from?
I don't remember.
I asked you to make it.
Yeah, I remember.
There's something about the dung beetle. Dung beetles roll that ball of dung, and I thought, okay, he's becoming a human. He's like upset about the repetitiveness of the workday, and he's like, I thought, okay, can you get a picture of Sisyphus and replace the boulder with a clock? That's what I asked you to do. And you did it. You did it really well.
Yeah. So now we're here's the first issue, as you can see. Really iconic cover art.
Yeah, Vdavin's so good.
Yes, and but yeah, like here's this is the cover. This is the first page that well, not the first page, but one of the pages people see, because we do publish as a PDF, but there are ebook readers that allow you to view the magazine as we intended. So I love our contributors. Like sometimes they'll post screenshots of them with the mag, like, oh, I'm so happy to be in the magazine, and it'll be like in like Adobe Acrobat or something. It's just like let's make sure you open that ebook reader, but yeah, I'm happy to have you publish that. But yeah, so like I'll just kind of button through here. So here's our contents page, which we're going through when we're doing a little tech rehearsal and seeing the difference between how it was for the first issue versus where we kind of got it to for issues 5 and 6. It's kind of nuts, but I mean, before, a lot of the thinking is function over aesthetics, just because we like, if you open it in the right PDF reader, these are clickable, and so you can just click to the whichever thing you're looking for through the contents. Also, we have social media links in there if the artist provides it, and you can kind of go straight to them and support them directly and follow them if you like some of their work. A lot of really fantastic artists who publish that stuff on Instagram, so if you want more, that is definitely in there. So yeah, I'm just gonna go through. If any of y'all want to say something, here's RR2. So
was that the first one that Rowan was in?
Yep.
I think.
Yes. Rowan made their the Rabble review debut in RR2.
My second publication, I think, actually.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
Did you also give us your first poetry submission?
That was in 4, I think. Yeah.
Number 4.
My first poetry. Well, not my first submission. I got rejected before.
Happens.
But yeah, my first publication for poetry, was from 4.
Yeah. So as you can see, so I have 2 pages up on screen at the same time, but you can kind of see, like, sometimes we'll have a page kind of lead into another page. And so it's like if the artwork has a certain aspect ratio, or if we think if it'll look nice in that kind of display, then we will definitely do something a little more creative with that. This one was actually 3 pages, so kind of goes on.
Can we go back to Rowan's piece, the one that's right before Capital Riot?
This one, Molten Fall?
Yeah. What was it? The texture? I forgot what you told us it was. Was it like a telephone cord?
Those are my daughter's play bracelets. They're like rubber stretchy bracelets, and they're actually metallic, like pink, purple, blue, and I just threw like, this is my thing, is I take whatever I have around me and I start throwing saturation, texture, colors, whatever, and see what happens. And then I forget what else I put on there. I think water flowing or ice. There's usually ice somewhere because I'm obsessed with ice.
Mm-hmm.
Until it looks like something entirely different.
Nice.
The other one in there, Prison Sun Shower, is more of her toys, magnet toys that click together, but with all kinds of stuff thrown on top.
Yeah, no, I really like that about your work. Like, it's Yeah, that one's so
That
good
one's
too.
just straightforward.
Yeah, it's like some of the discussion. I if I remember correctly, like when we were reviewing this pile of submissions, it was like, we liked it, but we were like, what is it? Like what I think we guessed like, oh, chains, or like just now I asked if it was a telephone cord.
Kids toys, more fun.
So yeah, no, it's so cool.
Here's
So cool.
Jordan.
You can see more of that process, by the way, when Rowan did an Instagram takeover. There are some stages of different pieces, right? And you can see how those come together.
Yes, Rowan did an excellent takeover for us. We sometimes have Instagram takeovers where we'll let a contributor kind of talk about their other art, the process, behind the scenes stuff, and it's been like one of the cooler things that we've kind of had from the beginning, which I feel like just was like, yeah, this is really awesome. Here's Jordan Nishkian, who's been in 3 issues now. And so as you can see, for fiction, we'll try to find an image and then make a cover for it, like a little miniature section of its own. And I really like the colors we actually ended up with, and just kind of swipe through that. So this is issue 2. So if you like that one, there's another ruthenium art.
There it is.
Just some great stuff. Issue 3, we were kind of, let me go to the beginning. So yeah, this one, issue 3 actually also coincided with Rabble Review's first in-person appearance. Angel mentioned in the beginning how we sort of met, but we both edited for our RCC's literary journal Muse. So shout out to Muse, and their advisor, James Ducat, invited me and Angel to collab with them for one of their poetry readings. And so we went back to the grind in downtown Riverside and had a really awesome night where we do you have the little cards we made?
Oh yeah,
we have.
He
printed out. He printed out.
We made
the
some
cover.
limited edition.
Yeah, so the cover's on one side, and then there's a QR code for the issue on the other because we are digital only. So, but we were able to pass them out and read some poetry that we published and meet some other artists. We actually had some artists who we met submit, and some of them actually got published in RR4. But yeah, it was a really cool thing, and I hope we get to do some more in-person stuff soon because that's always really cool. But yeah,
or not in person also. Like we're testing out this stream stuff, so maybe we'll do more.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think Jer, do you want to talk about how the color scheme kind of came to be in issue 3?
As a soft rule, we make the page color scheme based on the cover page somehow. So either just a much lighter tone or one of the lighter colors picked from the cover image. It kind of started becoming a rule with RR2 when we stumbled upon what we like to call bike path green.
Yes, let me see if I can find that one. So the color of the page, we kind of gave it a nickname called Bike Path Green.
It's that color, yeah.
So let me see if I can find. Do you guys remember who it was? Was it? I don't know. I can't click.
Go to the next page. Next page.
Let me just.
At the end of the table of contents, it's reader, I think.
Okay, let me just scroll to that. Yeah, can you guys see it? Do you guys see the bike path green that we use?
Because
it's on the page. It's on the picture.
It started with looking for a background page color to that image.
Yes.
And I think Angel went through like the taxi yellow.
Yes.
The orange pylon.
The jacket,
the street gray or the jacket color.
Yeah.
You know, he's just pulling colors from the image.
And color codes.
And just picture the color palette in Miro.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the sample pages and
one of us recommended like just pull the green off the bike path.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of became like the base page color for the whole issue because we liked it a lot.
Yes.
And now when we are like making or deciding on page colors, for the most part, we also kind of try and do a similar thing and like look for colors in the visuals and see if we can find something.
But now we take it from the cover image.
Yes.
Yeah, and we kind of do a little, also a nice message from BY. Take every last of one of your sick days, and you deserve to do more of what you love. But yeah, issue 3 had a lot of, or issue 2 had. I have a very, like, I feel like issue 2 might be my fave or one of my faves. It's our shortest issue. It's the sophomore issue. It's the sequel, but there's just something about it that I think came together like in a really interesting way. Like I don't know.
I remember how many problems that specific piece gave us for absolutely no reason, but
yeah,
it just wouldn't work.
I think we tried 3 pages at one point too for this one.
No, not even the layouts, but like when we were exporting it, for some reason the image was like getting fucked up in the process.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, it was
I
a whole
like that
thing.
image too. It reminds me of a
great piece though.
Reminds me of an underpass in Shinjuku, Tokyo.
It is very
looks a lot like that. I don't know where that one's taken from, but
yeah, even the issue 3, some more really great art. This great sculpture by Amy Ichitsu. But yeah, so issue 4, this is the issue that Faith came on with. The cover art is also done by Ruthenium Art themselves. It's a great cover. And I think we pulled the cover page color from this cover, but see if you can see where the inspiration was. But yeah, I love the color schemes across the board. This is a really pleasing color scheme as well.
This cover made us realize that we're kind of suckers for blue.
yeah, we had.
And this has come up before in our discussions. Yeah. We love blue covers.
We had the second blue cover in a row, but it's a great one. So what are you gonna do? Yeah, this is also the first issue where we put a ad out on New Pages and Duotrope, I believe. So we got a ton of submissions, probably the most we've received. Mostly poetry and fiction. If you're a visual artist, please, for the love of God, submit something. We would love to go through it. But we got a ton of poetry and prose. Also, Ruthenium making their debut with their poetry debut in our issue, and so we're delighted to publish that. Also got some really great collages. Avid Joseph, making their debut, or no, they followed up again. This is their second a publication by us, and we had a lot of really great poetry. Some great art. Robert who's been with us for a long time. Rob Burton.
Yeah.
I really love this piece, 1932. It's a really great short story. Which is I'll probably reference it again later when we kind of talk about our submission guidelines, just as far as stuff we're looking for, because I feel like that one kind of does a great job. Also, Jordan Nishkian, who was in R1 and 2 and returned for 4, and we're happy to publish Breakfast in Alaska. But yeah, there's a lot of really great fiction and prose and visuals that you can find. But
when it comes to poetry, by the way, we do try very, very hard to keep the original spacing and shape of the poem intact.
Yes, we've had some poets who, like I think Mara Scrupe, who had very long line breaks, which like fantastic poems, but as far as getting it onto the page proved to be a little bit of a challenge. And so there's been times where I think we've had to ask artists if this is a fine place to put a break or something like that. Or I don't actually think we've done it with poetry, but we have done it with visuals if we couldn't get the look just right. But
I think 5 and 6 was the first time we actually really liked a poem, but ultimately couldn't accept it just because it was so wide in the lines that it wouldn't work on our page size. It's
just the shape of it was just like I don't know what to do with this.
Publish it without butchering it.
Yeah. Here's issue 5, which I feel like I know I said 2 is probably my favorite. I feel like aesthetically 5 is like probably my favorite. Like it just something about it just feels very, like, I don't know. It just has a very specific flavor. Also
we mentioned this yesterday in our little kind of test
rehearsal.
run of this, but that pink cover originally got so much hesitance from most of us, and then Rowan championed it.
Yeah,
and it grew on us a lot. I love it now.
It's a great cover.
It's a really striking and good cover.
It's a great cover, and I think the pink throughout the issues really looks great.
Mm-hmm.
And it works perfectly for the themes that we were able to pull from the work.
Softer and more human.
Yeah. And so here's our new table of contents. And so so you can see them back to back. So that's where we started, and then that's where we kind of arrived at. So very iterative. Hello, Summersloth. Very iterative. But as you can see, we're constantly improving and making changes and figuring out what works and what could be better. So yeah, issue 5 was a good one.
We're also always trying to figure out a way to get it to you guys as readers in an easier way, I guess.
Yes.
But hopefully we'll be able to get it on the website so that it's accessible just on web without needing to
one day
download a thing and then open it up.
One day for sure we will figure that out. So yeah, issue 5. El Cigaro. There's sometimes from Michaela Godding.
Michaela Godding.
It's a really great poem. Really fantastic reading by her.
When we laid this one out on Miro, it was, I don't know if this like comes across to readers so clearly, but when we were arranging it, the theme was kind of human relationships. And the way I had described it on like the heading that we had on Miro was like human relationships, their lack, their loss, their need, their recovery. And that kind of ended up being subtle, soft, like chapter breaks throughout the issue. So it is kind of arranged in that way.
Yes. Yes, that's very, very good point. Also here's safe space and so while we talked about the covers, this was actually a candidate for the cover art. But we ultimately went with a different, but it's still a really awesome piece. This is another cover option. Angel, you want to talk about how this was very close to being the cover, but we ultimately went with by the same artist, but we ultimately went with something else.
Yeah, I especially liked this one for cover art, and I kept like insisting on it, but they wouldn't let me crop it. So that was basically it. That was basically the reason. But I'm now that the issue's out and like with some time and like distance from it, like the pink one was the right cover art.
If we had ended up
the piece itself is great.
It's a great 2-pager. If we had ended up with the cover art, we would have either had to crop it or it would have been very small on the page. Just
out of curiosity, is this bike path green making a comeback?
It kind of looks like it. It does.
23.
It does. Let me see side by side. Oh no, I think. Wait, no. This isn't. Is this? No. Yeah, that is bike path. So I think it's a little bit lighter. Yeah, this is a little different, slight shade difference
with a twist.
I think we pulled this green off of this picture actually.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Nice. We kind of started for some of the shorter fiction. We kind of started doing I think smaller. I don't think this is example one, but we started doing smaller cover pages. Like not necessarily a whole image, but like the Fukuchi's letter, we kind of just have like just kind of kept it simple. So it's not an image, but we're playing around a little bit more with the format. There's a lot of really great colors in this issue. partially due to, I think, the collages we received, which kind of just gave us a really cool palette to kind of naturally find sections to kind of color.
Yeah, I don't remember if it matched up quite with the sub chapters, like that need lack recovery.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier, but we used these collages to break it up a bit and match the page colors with something on that collage.
Yep. Yeah, so if you like the rest of the issue, you guys can go through it on your own, because we're going to move on to issue 6, our most recent issue, which is available now. If you would like to download it, please do so. All of our issues are free, by the way. If you go to our Gumroad page, it is pay what you want. So if that want is $0, we are totally happy giving you an issue for that much. If you want to give us a little donation, which all of the money that we make on the issues we put back into the magazine, so we've used it to buy software that we work. Before we were using a borrowed version of a different bit of software, but now that we had a little bit of money from our donation, we were able to get it while it was on sale.
And thank you so much to everybody that has donated. Like that's so nice of you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So yeah, this is our most recent issue. The theme was that brutal work week, which kind of comes together in the pages. Which again, if you're looking at if you look at the pages from Rabble Review 1, it's very different from kind of where we kind of are with this one. And so you'll notice at the top of the page, we're kind of doing a little something different. Actually, let me pull up the mural page as well. While you guys
I think
talk.
that'll be helpful.
Yeah, but let me pull that up.
I came up with this theme before I came up with, or before we came up with the one for number 5.
Yes,
and that helped kind of divide them up. But number 6 is kind of divided into like a work week from a Monday to Friday. I know some people work weekends too, and I'm sorry, that's not reflected here. But yeah, the page colors also kind of reflect that work week as well. You have lighter tops of the page for like the sky during the day, and then you have some poems that are like set at night, so that'll be that work night, you know.
Yeah.
And then it just repeats 5 times.
Yeah. So you can, exactly. Yeah. You can kind of see just how, again, just the iterative process of like Angel pulling up various color palettes, and also just how is it going to look on, like, how are we going to actually do the page, like when we get those palettes. Like we had up here, you can see like oh, maybe we'll do the whole page, because that's how we've kind of typically done it in the past. Maybe just the top of the page, so it's more sky-like, and we kind of iterated from there. And also, again, the colors, we messed around with different color options, and also you can kind of see these
votes on the side.
Yeah, you can see these weird shapes. Those are votes. I think the triangle is, who's the triangle? It's somebody.
I think that's me.
I'm the pink star, I should say.
Yes, that is Rowan.
Adjei.
The big
I don't know where I am, but I was here, I promise.
I think you might have voted on Slack for those.
Maybe, yeah. And yeah, you can kind of see that process again, kind of just continuing here with like, I think at one point we actually had like a full-on sky gradient as the top of the page, which would have looked cool, but I think we ultimately went with a more simpler.
Yeah, it would have been too distracting.
Yeah. But
it does look good though. Those collages, by the way, are also used to break up each day, and it's kind of like just zonking out in front of the TV before you go to bed.
Yes, let me see if I can find that in the. Yeah, you can kind of see, I guess it's pulled back a bit, but yeah, we kind of had those kind of be the markers, so to speak. So, and then there's another one, and yeah, so yeah, just really cool thought process stuff that we kind of use. So let me go back to the issue. So yeah, that was
sorry. Again, I don't really know how clear it is for every reader that that's what we're doing, but that's like in the background. That's what we're thinking when we're laying it
That's
out.
what we're doing.
Yeah, and also to that point, like we don't really feel the need to spell it out either. Like it's I think it's a good point for us to kind of bounce things off of, but also like I feel like a lot of people might knowingly or not internalize just like you're going through the pages naturally, and like there's changes happening. There's also thematically there's changes happening in the poems they're reading. But also
because even the colors, like they ended up not even quite resembling like sky lines or like tones that the sky actually turns. But yeah, no, like you said, like as you were flipping through it, like you can see like movement and the magazine itself is like moving forward as you flip.
Here's the completed Gregor Samsa in reverse. So we did not go with metamorphosis, but it's very much. I think like Angel, you made this like just completely right. Yeah.
I think the clock might have been like a product image from like Walmart.
Very on brand.
And then the guy was a guy actually pushing a stone. So I just took the guy and the clock and I put them together. I wanted them to line up the 2 pages, but it would have blocked the text.
Yeah, so sometimes a lot of like our creative sort of aspirations kind of come up against the readability and other stuff like that, so we have to make compromises. But when you're flipping the pages itself, I think the effect is still there. Like, and I still think it looks really cool. But it's, just some really great art, some really good poetry. There's collecting from Reinfred in there. Anyone else have anything else they want to add to the ebook portion before we move on?
I will say the sorting process, the behind the scenes, is really what convinced me to go with VMQ, because it's been so much fun of all the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah. There's definitely.
It looks messy. It is messy, but it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the most chaotic part, but it is, that's how you get there. Like reading the issues, sure, but then coming up with the narrative, like that's the creative process for us, is like, how do we then put this together and kind of have it be a cohesive thing, right? Instead of
it's also like a kind of a balance that we have to strike, because we can have these like kind of creative aspirations, but like at the end of the day, like what is like the star of the show should be the contributors and the artwork that we're publishing. So it's really fun to like still do little things like the colors and the layouts, but like stepping back and like staying kind of behind the camera.
Here's an example of our shorter fiction or non-fiction pieces, kind of like how we kind of decided on having like a title, and so not everything gets cover art anymore, but it's for shorter stuff. That's kind of where we went with. Here's David Estringel, who I forgot to mention at the start of the stream, Jared did a reading of Smooth Whiskey by David Estringel, which was featured in our 2nd issue, and David Estringel submitted to us again for issue 6, and we're delighted to have him. Really immense, really awesome works that he's submitted so far. But yeah, so that's.
And they were all night poems, right?
I think so. Yeah, there's definitely certainly a mood when you're reading his book. If you listen to Smooth Whiskey, it's very very evocative. But yeah, that's issue 6, so it's available to download now. So we highly recommend that you download that one and all of them, really. Like they're all the same price, $0. So if you like what you see, if you have a favorite, definitely let us know. Does anyone have a like there an issue that we've done so far that kind of speaks to you? I kind of mentioned that issue 2 was kind of my, like, no, we're not supposed to pick favorites, but kind of a little bit maybe. But does anyone else have any issues that kind of you just feel like came together or just speak to you in a certain way?
Maybe it's because we have the little cards, but every time I look at them, I'm like, oh, that was a good issue. And
issue 3.
Oh my gosh, I forgot the artist name.
Stephen Lee Clymer. Yeah, they.
Yes, Clymer. They paint. They have oh gosh, I'm blanking. Like they paint scents.
Yes, I think they mentioned in their bio actually.
Synesthesia?
Synesthesia.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's really cool his work. I think shortly after. Or yeah, go on.
I don't remember if it was all the paintings, but they had titles like oud that were, those are basically like scent ingredients and like visual representations of those. It's really, really cool stuff.
Yeah. There's another one of Stephen Lee Clymer's works. They also did an Instagram takeover for us, which was really cool. Got to see some more of their art.
He's definitely open to questions. People should just bombard him with questions.
Yes, absolutely. Anyone else have a issue that?
Well, 5 and 6 have 5 and 6 because they have those really tight themes. I really liked working with them a lot. I always wanted to get that kind of strict, narrow theme for an issue, and 5 and 6 finally let us do that. So, of course, I enjoyed all of the issues, but 5 and 6 will have a special place in my heart, just because we got to do that with them.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rowan?
I was gonna say 5 was my favorite. It's biased because that was the first one I was in on, but that's one of my favorite pieces. And it was just, I don't know. Maybe it's also I'm more of a human connection kind of person, so that theme really resonated with me. I loved that one a lot.
Yeah. Even the order of it, like 5 has all those human connections, and then 6 gets into like, here's why you don't have those enough in your life.
I think Jer, you were the one who kind of naturally found those kind of like you're the one who kind of helped direct us in terms of like the separate themes, and so that I think. Because like we didn't tell the people submitting that was the theme, and we're gonna get to the submission our submission guidelines in just a second, just to outline them so people kind of have a sense of what kind of stuff we're looking for. But yeah, we didn't tell anyone about the theme, but like it just naturally comes together a lot of the time. Like issue 2, again, not that I'm biased, but there's a lot of photography in here, and it really does speak to like a very specific. But like there's no way for like the contributors to know, but like it just comes together, and like it's really cool how you just kind of naturally find stuff like that.
Sure.
No, every issue has a narrative thread. It's not like they're completely devoid of theme. It's just that a lot of them are more loose and free form. 5 and 6 got to be very strict and controlled, and the ones before that were kind of like a general mood that we were moving through. They tended to go toward more like, we'll start off with some sort of lighter mood and then go into some darker and then like end with some hope or something. And that's what we would do for like 1, 2, and 3, for example. I think we're all like that.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Well, yeah, that's Rabble Review. Those are our issues. So now our final bit of live stream business, we're gonna show off our website and kind of give you guys the lowdown on submission process and all that stuff. So
which you can do right now as well for R7.
Again, I made sure to mention it constantly. There's signs everywhere in the we are absolutely accepting submissions. I even put a little QR code there, like just hold up your phone. Visual art, please, God, please. So yeah, here's our website. It's very straight to the point. It's very red. Yes, we had, so our previous designer kind of came on, got that whole started with us, and then left, which was very cool. So
I mean, honestly, it was inconvenient, but like she was able to like leave us enough to like do something with it, I guess, like logos and colors and that stuff, and that was like immensely helpful because I'm not a designer. Like I've been having to learn as we're doing Rabble reviews, so it was really helpful to have her stuff there. But
yes, if there are any web designers,
to make some adjustments.
If there are any web designers watching and you want to help us out, please shoot us a DM.
Yes, please.
We would love that. So yeah, here's our submission page. So we are accepting submissions for our 7th issue. The deadline is June 30th, which is very soon. It's next Friday. It's a week from now. We
Although
actually,
if you have visuals, you know, we can.
If you have visuals, listen. We're not gonna. If you got something that's you send it in July 4th or something, we're not gonna judge. Visuals, always accepting. But for poetry and prose artists, sorry, the deadline is June 30th. We already have so much, and it's awesome. But you have another week to get some more in, and we'll kind of go through that now. So.
And even if they submit like after the deadline, because we have had that happen once or twice, we just kind of like roll them over to the next submission period and consider them for the following batch of work. So
yeah, that's excellent point from Angel. If you let's say if you did submit, what is that? What happened? Anyway, if you did, got a new follower. I was like, I'm the one who set those graphics up, and I was just like, what is that? Yes, if you follow the channel, shout outs to Rowan for following us.
I didn't know it would do that.
I was very confused for a second. No, it's supposed to do that. I just forgot because I set that stuff up like a week ago. Yeah, well, as I was saying, if you submit like July 1st after the deadline, your submission does not get thrown away. It just means that we won't look at it until we start building the next issue. So if you get that submission in for prose and poetry, we won't start looking at it until we start building Rabble Review 8. So so if you didn't know, we are a leftist platform. So just keep that in mind. Interested in works that examine critically the capitalist societies we live in or explore visions of post-capitalist possibility. We are open to most subject matters. However, we would like to see works of poetry, fiction, nonfiction, essays, and visual arts that address or relate in some way to the themes above. So if you were here for the readings, you probably got a good sense of that. But also just to let you know, that doesn't mean that we are only looking for that, and it also doesn't mean that you have to be explicit about it within the text. Like, who was it? There was a reading that I'm blanking, but it's about that, but it's not about that. Like, it's about working class life, like Big Shoes, which is an issue, which is in Rabble Review 6. It's speaking to income, is speaking to different parts of life that could be struggles, but it's not necessary. But like compared to a poem by Jeffrey Morel, who very directly calls out capitalism, which we also love, but there's space in between for your submission. So if you have something that is a slice of life and it's not necessarily about going to protest or something, it's still 100% if it fits, it fits, and we will definitely still read it. But however, we are a leftist platform, so if you are like a Ben Shapiro fan, or if you are a huge conservative, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna read it. I'm not gonna read it. There are probably conservative literary journals that you could find. I'm sure they're out there. They'd love to have you. We lean left, so just
I found out that Jordan Peterson has a poetry book out. Like, yeah, I've been meaning to look at it just to get some laughs or
what
cringe.
Would that poetry even be about? Good lord.
Lobsters are
I don't
red.
But yeah, so if that is your style, you're free to submit. Hey, I'll look at it, but it's probably not going to get published. But for everyone else, if you're yeah, that's kind of where we're at.
Although if you are a conservative and you are kind of accidentally pro-working class and don't even realize it, you might sneak in.
yeah, who knows? I'm sure there's I mean, there's definitely, I'm sure we've definitely published people to the right of us, but like that 100% is something that's possible. And yeah, we won't, if that's the work, that's the work, you know. Though we accept submissions from anyone, our primary aim is to elevate voices from queer, BIPOC, working class, and all underserved groups of people. So we highly encourage submissions from these communities. Again, that does not mean that if you are white, we will not read your work. Like, please submit. We've definitely gotten some submissions, especially when we opened it up on new pages. Definitely had some people submit who seemed very cautious, who seemed very concerned that we wouldn't take a look or consider their work. Please relax, please chill. It's fine. If you are white, we'd still love to have you. All we're saying is that we would love to also have these communities as well. And so don't feel the need to qualify your submission, be like, I live in a poor neighborhood, it's okay. Like, no, you're fine. You're fine. Please continue to submit. We've published several white artists. It's fine. But yeah, that is an aim of ours. We definitely want, we definitely want more people of color, queer people, disabled people. I don't like that. We would love to have more stuff like that and to highlight and to showcase that. Anyone have anything to add before we continue? All right. Contributors retain all rights to their work during and after publication. We also accept previously published works. It is a responsibility of the contributor to ensure rights to a previously submitted work have reverted. So what that means is that if you decide to publish with us, we are not going to hold your work hostage. You are free to submit it again. You can tell them that it was first published in Rabble Review. That's totally cool, but also just it is still your work. We're just happy to have a place to showcase it and to show it off. As for the second point, yeah, it is your responsibility to let us know. We have a very fast turnaround between acceptance and publication. So if we let you know, please check your email if you submit. But if you do submit, we do accept it. We are just going to publish it unless you let us know that we can't, or if there needs to be an addendum. I think Big Shoes, like calling back to that again, the writer of that immediately emailed us and said, hey, this indicate that this was published here first, because they literally just published it. We're happy to do so.
And we've also had like works that were simultaneous submissions that we had accepted, but then they were accepted elsewhere and they did not allow simultaneous submission, so they had to withdraw their submissions, which is always unfortunate, but yeah, totally allow.
It's our loss.
Yeah, there was a really great Erica Ivy who was published, I think it's 6, or 5, one of those, but they had there was another poem of theirs that they had to withdraw, but they let us know. And so if that does happen, please let us know as soon as possible, and we will withdraw it. Let's continue on. So guidelines. So if you have never submitted to us, we do have our art guidelines. Please be sure to look them over, make sure that everything is good. We're like, you're seeing us right now. We're not sitting at this huge table, and we're not like at this institution. If there's something that's a little off, we might just reach out to you. We're not just gonna, again, just dump it in the trash, especially if we like it. If we like it, we'll be like, hey, this the copy you sent us isn't great, but can you send us a better version of this? But
I think we had that for Climber, right?
Yeah, our cover artist.
The initial submission was just like a cell phone photo of the
painting.
canvas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we liked it, and we were like, "Hey, can you get us better versions of this so we could publish it?" And they 100% did that. And one of them was our cover art, and several other pieces of theirs ended up in the issue. So yeah, art should be high res, 300 DPI minimum, size at least 203 millimeters, 8 inches on the longer side, must be in JPEG or PNG format. Also, be sure to include a bio. If you don't, or if you forget or whatever, we will just email you, but you please check your email if you submit to us, because sometimes a lot of this is time sensitive. So we just include the bio if you're submitting. Artist comment about a submitted work is optional, but may be appended if it will help our understanding of the piece. These comments may be included in publication, which means
we did for a few, yeah.
Yes, which means that if you have like a little bit of writing, like a paragraph, or even something even a little longer, you probably saw that with, I think Yusutu had some text that accompanied their artwork. Happy to publish that.
Scripa, I think too.
Yes, yeah, we're definitely happy to publish that stuff. I think for Mara Scrupe, who had artwork, we actually requested that so that we could kind of have the visuals, because the way the visuals were, it was part of a series, but we could not figure out how to lay it out because of the aspect ratios and all that stuff. So Angel figured out a way that would be visually pleasing while also giving out that information. So we reached out to her and asked if she could give explanations for the artwork, and we included that.
Yeah.
So again, if the artwork demands it, we will 100% reach out to you and work with the artists. We're happy to do so. All right, fiction guidelines. So we do have guidelines for our fiction. Maximum 2,000 words. File must be doc or pages. Include an author bio. Again, we're not super rigid with these guidelines. If you send a short story that's 2,500 words, we will give it a read. But I will let you know personally, if you submit something that's 5,000 words or 6,000 words, I'm not reading that. It's not getting read by me. The other editors, it's at our discretion if they want to read it and champion it, if it's something they feel fits in the issue. But as we get more submissions, as our submission pile grows, we can't necessarily promise that a larger piece will get published, especially even if we like it, just because of space and to be fair to the other contributors, because we want to make sure that all that stuff gets read in the issue we're building. I think for our first issue, we might have published something a little longer, but it's because we didn't have a ton of nonfiction anyway, and so we made that exception, and it was really good. I think it was Loxamana. He had a essay. It's great. It was very long, but we didn't have a ton of writing in those early issues, so we published it. But now we got a lot, so just keep that in mind. If it's under 2,000 words, it's for sure getting read. Anyone else have anything to add before I move on to nonfiction?
The max submissions is 4 per person, but that's pretty soft too.
Yes. Also for art, it's whatever you want. Just get us that art, please. Nonfiction guidelines, very similar to our fiction guidelines, although we do have a bit more of a prompt, but even there, again, these are not hard and fast rules. These are not baked into the core of Rabble Review. Like, if there's something that you still feel thematically fits with the magazine, just submit it. The worst that we will say is no, and it will be a very polite no. Like, we will not, like, we're very happy to accept a lot of that, or receive a lot of that stuff to consider. So we accept submissions of cultural criticism or creative nonfiction that engage critically with capitalism and or post-capitalist possibility. That sounds very, like, if a lot of that went over your head, don't worry. If you feel like it fits the magazine, just submit it. Maximum 2,000 words. Also, we're excited. Like, if you are pulling sources, please include that. We will publish that as well. So cite your sources. And last is poetry, which you receive a ton of poetry. Can you remind me, $7.50 per poem, right?
Yeah, per poem, but also like we have been saying for the other categories, not necessarily like strict limit. Just to make it, I guess, manageable for us and for like a reader once it's in the magazine. Yeah, just keep that in mind.
Yes.
As well as what we mentioned earlier about the layout of the poem on the page. Like if you do submit and the poem is scattered on the page, it might be difficult to fit it into a page this wide, very narrow. So yeah, keep that in mind, like how the poem might look on a phone, which is how it's supposed to be ideally
Yes,
viewed.
absolutely. Yeah, if you are submitting your poems and you have very long line breaks or very unconventional spacing, again, we'll do our best to work with it. But if we can't get it to work, then we'll either reach out to you or we'll just pass altogether. But again, that's more of a limitation of the format, which is the same if you're doing print or whatever. Ours just happens to be a phone screen, and so yeah, like we want to make sure we keep and maintain and preserve as much as possible. And so if you have other works that are a little less out there as far as spacing goes, consider those over those ones. But if you think that it will look good on that page, then again, we're not gonna say no to taking a look at it.
Or just give us explicit permission to do whatever we want to the spacing.
Yeah. Yes. If you are cool with that, then that opens it up a bit. If you intend to submit something outside of these guidelines, please contact us. Yeah, we are extremely reachable. We are on. You can DM us on Instagram, Twitter, or email us, and we'll clear any confusion you have. If you're an artist and you want to send over a sample, please do so, and we'll take a look at it. We're happy to do so. Anything else before we wrap this up?
No.
Here's our submission form. So you can either do it right on the website, or you can go to the jot form. So we ask for a name, your name as you'd like it to appear in publication. If you have a pen name, or you just have or you just want to use a different name, first of all, you don't need to give us your legal name in the name portion. But if you want us to know that for whatever reason, and then you want to be published as a different name, please make sure. Oh my god, I just doxed myself. Please make sure you fill out this section. Include your pronouns. Ethnicity is optional. That's more just for us, just so we know which communities we're reaching. We've had some people kind of give a little snarky with the submission, but it's optional. You do not need to tell us if it is that personal to you.
Yeah. Same for pronouns.
Same for pronouns. If you,
I think.
Actually, pronouns is we have the asterisk there. So
maybe. Oh, mandatory. Okay, yeah.
But where are you from? Again, you can be vague there. You don't need to give us exact details. And then contact information here. If you give us your Twitter and Instagram and personal website, those will go in the issue. So if you are artists and you want people to check out your Instagram, we do link to those in the issue. So if you want us to link to that, please include that there. If you don't want us to link to that, then do not give it to us, because prefer formal contact. We'll most likely reach out to you via email. If we can't reach you that way, then we'll probably DM you or on Instagram. But please make sure you keep an eye on that stuff. Number of submissions, max 4. If you're a visual artist, you're welcome to submit more. The form will only allow 4, but you can open up another form and just fill it out again, and then just redo that whole thing. And yeah, here's the submission title, type of submission, description. So that's kind of where you kind of give us a little bit of information, and anything else you'd like us to know, just hit the upload, and then yeah, we will receive that. We've already received quite a few poetry and fiction, nonfiction submissions.
Rabble Review 7 is underway.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Is in development as we speak. But yeah, that's I think that's about.
Did Vital Minutiae Quarterly have a deadline that was already set?
August 31st.
August
Yes.
31st.
August 31st for VMQ's deadline as well. We highly recommend that you check them out. If you are a contributor, or if you would like to contribute, you'd probably also like to contribute there too. And there's a lot of, I guess that's the last point I want to leave off on. What are some things, I'm speaking to the editors, that you'd like to see us do, or what are some things you're looking forward to doing? Because for me, I do kind of want to collaborate a little more with other literary journals, do more in-person stuff. Like Muse meets up a lot with Inlandia, which is like our local kind of, or one of our local poetry situations out here. So we've already done with Muse, and we have the editor-in-chief of VMQ right here right now. So I'd like to reach out and kind of hang out with some more. What about y'all? Is there anything that's you kind of want to see a little more of?
I'm just excited. I mean, all of what you said, but like right now, I'm excited to just start working on R7. Like, I haven't gotten through very many submissions, but the ones that I have gotten through have been really cool. So I'm excited to get through them and get on the mirror board and start getting to the fun part.
Anyone else? Any closing
I'm
thoughts?
so happy with what we've been getting so far that I don't want to request anything specific, out of fear that we might lose stuff that we're getting so far. I think we're getting really great stuff.
Yeah, we also already seen a few returning contributors submitting again, which is a huge delight. Like it's very cool to have that. Like, is to have people who are like happy with the final product enough that they want to submit again. So we're really happy to work with those artists again. Anyone else have any closing thoughts? Anything? No? All right. Well, yeah, this was our first live stream, Rabble Review's first live stream. As far as frequency for like other streams go, nothing planned yet. We do want to do another one of these for the launch of issue 7. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, we might be cooking up some, maybe have interviews down the line, maybe other deep dives like this, maybe smaller form stuff every now and then. Because now that we've done it, we know that it can be done. So we definitely want to mess around with the format a little bit. But again, thank you all so much for tuning in. Again, big thank you, big shout out to our wonderful readers who contributed. That is Avid Joseph, reading Resolution in Negative Space 2. You can find that in Rabble Review 4. Edward Canavan, reading Addition by Subtraction. You can find that in Rabble Review 6. Michaela Godding, reading Sometimes, published as Wanting to Die Sometimes, but now titled Sometimes. And you can find that in Rabble Review 5. Amrita Valan, reading Guilt, which you can find in Rabble Review 5. Reinfred, Dziedzorm, Addo, with their poem Collecting. You can find that in Rabble Review 6. Dr. Elizabeth Vincent Koshy, whose poem Building for Others can be found in Rabble Review 6. Patrick Connors, whose poem Toil can be found in Rabble Review 6. And Jeffrey Morel, whose poem Sorry for Caring can be found in Rabble Review 6. So let's give one last final round of applause to our wonderful, excellent contributors. For any contributors who want to work with us, please keep it on your email. We'll definitely be doing more stuff like this. And we hope that we did justice to the contributors who we had today. You can find everything Rabble Review does at rabblereview.com. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram, Rabble_review. You can find out more about us there. You can reach out to us there. You can chat with us. We'll be happy to answer any questions you have. You can find out more about Vital Minutiae Quarterly at Vital Minutiae's website, which is Vital Minutiae Q. You can find more information on their Twitter, which is at Vital Minutiae Q. So if you have any questions for the EIC, they will be answering them, I'm sure.
And by the way, it was amazing getting to work with Rowan.
Oh
yes,
yeah,
And
absolute
if
delight.
other
Yes.
magazines out there, I highly recommend it.
Yes. Yeah, and again, just they are starting up their own thing, and we are really happy to see that, and happy that they could join us for RR 5 and 6. It's been an absolute pleasure. But yeah, once again, thank you guys so much. We have a lot of fun building these issues, and we really do appreciate the audience that we've sort of cultivated along the way. Once again, deadline for issue number 7 submissions is June 30th. That is next Friday, June 30th. If you get it in after that, we will not look at it until we start building Rabble Review 8. So if you want to be considered for this upcoming issue, submissions are open now. We hope to have the issue out sometime in August. I think we're shooting for early August, so we're gonna get started on that. As soon as that deadline closes, we're gonna get started on building that for you guys. And then we'll probably have another live stream around that time too. So make sure you keep your eye on our socials and give us a follow. And yeah, we will see y'all on the next stream. So have a wonderful rest of your evening. Again, thank you for tuning in, and thank you to our contributors. Thank you to my fellow editors also, Hurdis, Angel Neri, Rowan Crosswaite, and Faith Robertson Paul. And I have been your host, Andrew Adjei. And yeah, you guys can definitely hit us up. Be happy to.
I'm sorry you didn't get to see any of our cats.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
several of our editors have cats who are all adorable. I want a cat.
They always show up in meetings, but for some reason today they're just.
They saw the live sign outside your doors and were very respectful, which is very very polite of them.
Yeah, they're very respectful.
They're being respectful.
Very respectful
For once.
Yeah. We love cats. We're very pro abortion, pro LGBTQIA, pro disability, pro all those things. But yes, again, submit to us. We love you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.